You are listening to Beyond the Wheel, a podcast about the people and ideas that drive the RV community forward.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Beyond the Wheel podcast. Today, it's just Sean and I sitting down with you, and we're chatting about why keeping your RV may be a better idea than going out and buying a new RV. This idea was inspired because I just wrote an article for Winnebago about the upgrades that I made to my Winnebago Vista, and it just had me thinking, our RV is almost 10 years old. People ask us all the time, when are you going to upgrade this thing and, trade it in and get something new? And the truth is that it works for us. What we have now does work for us. Even though it is 10 years old, we have made upgrades throughout the years, and we feel like we kind of just have everything set up the way that we need it for the way we travel. This is not to say that I would never buy a new RV. Someday I will be. But at the moment, I'm very happy with the RV that I have. And maybe if you're listening to this episode today, we hope that we give you some ideas of maybe how to upgrade your own RV instead of going out and purchasing new. Now, of course, some people, if you got to buy a new RV, you got to buy a new RV. Maybe you don't have an RV. This is not really per se the episode for you, but you might get a couple ideas of what to upgrade in that RV that you're about to purchase. So sit back, relax, and Sean and I are going to chat with you guys for the next 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah, and I think it ultimately depends on personal priorities and preferences. But like you said, hopefully we'll give you some ideas to go either way. And it really depends on a few factors like cost versus convenience, DIY enjoyment, like if you like doing that kind of stuff versus having the peace of mind of having something new that's under warranty. And then also if you are one of those people that have FOMO and need to have like the latest and greatest versus you're okay with having some older stuff. Like I'm not a big fan of tech in my RV, so I don't mind not having all the screens and stuff in there. Automatic leveling jacks is about as tech as I need it to be.
And FOMO, I love that word. Sabrina uses FOMO a lot. And if for anybody that's like on social media, that's probably where they're getting their FOMO from. They're probably seeing people on Instagram and Facebook. Hey, I just bought this new RV and it has yada, yada, yada. It could be a dishwasher or washer dryer, whatever it is, whatever it may be. And, to be completely honest here, there are limitations of a DIY. Like I just don't have the room to add a washer and dryer in my RV. So that's going to, maybe change your perspective on whether or not it's time for you to purchase a new RV. Everybody's going to be a little different, but, I think we're going to have some really great ideas to share with you guys. And I think, the hope also would be that maybe we're going to share things that you never thought of before. So that's the hope for all of our episodes, really, whenever we're doing an episode like this. But the obvious, though, that everybody knows is, buying new is definitely going to be more expensive than keeping your original RV. A great comparison to this is, one, my RV's paid off. It's 10 years old. When we did buy our RV, we bought it for $79,000. Our same RV, if it were brand new today, would not be $79,000. RVs have gone up exponentially in pricing, and our RV today now starts closer to like $170,000. MSRP on it is like $2 something. So
Wow.
It's really changed. Now they have made upgrades, like this was a 30 amp coach, and the last version of our coach was a 50 amp, had 2 AC units other than 1 AC. But still, you're talking about $100,000 difference. And that's
more
money
than an
that,
AC in price.
yeah. And when you, yeah, for sure. And then when you factor in depreciation, the more expensive the RV, I feel like typically the faster it depreciates because they all go through maybe 20, 30% depreciation within the first year. So obviously, when we're talking about keeping your current RV or purchasing new, money-wise, it's going to be keeping your current RV.
Yeah, and then if you do buy new and that first year it depreciates, and you didn't put a big chunk of money down between the what you owe on the RV and the interest, you're upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's what I hear a lot. I hear a lot of people upside down, especially, if you would have bought your RV in 2021, 2022, there was a big boom and now pricing is coming down. I know a lot of those people did suffer from being upside down now because they didn't put a lot down. I guess the reality of, buying, I think a lot of people, I should say, the reality is for a lot of people, what they think is, well, I'm buying a brand new RV, so it's going to be perfect. I'm not going to have any problems with it. Whereas my RV is getting older. I know it's going to have problems, if not today, tomorrow, in the near future, it's probably going to start giving me problems. But the fact is, new RVs have the same problems that older RVs have. RVs haven't, I would say, evolved ridiculously. Like they're still very much the same. It's a house on wheels, you're plumbing and electrical, and you're driving it down roads where they're horrible as far as the potholes, the ruts in the road, the stop, the go, everything kind of shakes these RVs. So a new RV is going through the same, I don't want to say issues, but they're exposed to the same items that could cause a potential problem. So just because an RV is new does not mean that it's going to be trouble free. In fact, typically you get the most amount of problems with an RV within the first year because that's kind of like your shakedown period. That's when you're getting everything to rattle and roll, and that's when you're getting the most out of your warranty. You're going to spend a lot of time because, especially since if your warranty's a year, you want to make sure you get in that dealership to get every warranty item fixed before your warranty runs out. So you may be surprised that just because it is new, it doesn't mean that you're trouble-free and camping anywhere. You might find yourself actually visiting dealerships and service centers more often trying to get these things fixed. Whereas if you keep your RV, by now, second year, third year of ownership, you should have already gone through all these easily broken items, things that maybe were missed during production or missed during inspection. And now you've hopefully have taken care of them yourself. So they are now, that they are fixed and they're solid and they're good for another, maybe 10 years or so.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I would even say buy a new used RV that's already been through all that.
Mhm.
Because hopefully the people that had it before you dealt with all the bugs and issues, and then wherever you're buying it from, all that stuff, you're past that first year of quote unquote painful things breaking. And I mean, it could be something like on our first RV, we had a screw that to a wire connection
Hmm.
that was loose. So it kept shorting out. And just something simple like that is like a big headache until you find it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully people find that stuff in the first year and then it's all fixed.
Sean, that's funny that you say it. I had the same exact issue in our automatic transfer switch. We had a loose screw in our automatic transfer switch. So we would be plugged in and sometimes it wouldn't switch over right away. And it would take a minute. Sometimes it wouldn't do it at all. And it took us a little while to figure out what was going on with it. And it turned out to
Yeah.
be a loose screw in our automatic transfer switch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you drive down the road, rattle it around, and it kind of like got in place. Then you drive it down to the next campsite, and now it was out of place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. I agree with Sean 100%. If you are listening and you haven't purchased yet, then I think a slightly used RV will help you out in the long run, not just in cost, but also with making those fixes. Hopefully, the person that purchased it before you already made the fixes. And I know a very popular argument is, well, with a brand new RV, you get the warranty, but you can purchase a warranty for a used RV as well. It doesn't have to be brand new to have a warranty. There are companies out there, wholesale warranties being one of them, that you can purchase an extended warranty. Sabrina and I actually bought an extended warranty for our RV, and I cannot remember the name of it, but we did use it. We actually wound up breaking even on our extended warranty because we did buy a slightly used RV. It was only 6 months old when we bought ours. So we did a 5-year, I think maybe it was a 3-year extended warranty. And in the first 2 years, we had 2 AC units break and we had something else replaced on it too, all under warranty. So it paid for itself. We broke even on the warranty. I think a warranty is a great investment. I'll say in quotes, investment for an RV, just because there are just so many components that go into an RV. There are a lot of points in an RV that can fail. So that's my 2 cents on warranties. And I think also, Sean, like when people are thinking about, oh, keeping my own RV or maybe trading it in on a new RV or private sale, whichever path you want to lead or take, I should say. I think there's something too, like our RV now is 10 years old. We just hit 9 years. I really know this RV well. Like I know like every sound that it makes, if it's an important sound or not an important sound. I know where, all my breakers are. I know where all my fuses are now. I really kind of know this RV inside and out. I know what it does well, and I know where it lacks a little bit, I guess you could say. I know how it does in hot weather. I know how it does in cold weather, what it does in the wind, on the road driving. I know it is an older RV, but I feel like I know it very well, if that makes sense. And there's something comforting about knowing it so well that I feel confident taking it anywhere and that I'll be okay.
Yeah, and also, like, it has, like now it's built up some sentimental value
Mhm.
as well, like, you're taking it on all these trips and all these places, and you have some sentimental value behind it as well, whereas with a new one, you'd basically be starting all over.
Yeah. It's funny that you say sentimental value for the vehicle because it is just a vehicle. But Sabrina and I do have sentimental value with this RV, especially it being our first RV. We've never owned an RV before this one. We do feel an attachment to this RV. We've been to so many places. Well, I've now wrote a book, about Belle and her travels in this RV. There is a lot of sentimental value with this RV, and I will admit that maybe that clouds my judgment a little bit too. That I'd rather keep this and upgrade it because I do know it so well because it has been like part of our family for the last 9 years.
Yeah, you pretty much know everything about it, and it pretty much knows everything about you at this point.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And well, we'll get into upgrades a little bit further down the road, but you can upgrade these RVs, I would say fairly easy. Most of the upgrades I do and that you do, Sean, we're done ourselves. We don't really take it to service centers too often. And that will be a big deciding factor too. Like how comfortable are you? How hands-on are you? Because if you're taking it to a service center for every upgrade, well, then maybe it would be cheaper just to buy a new RV because service centers are going to charge you a lot of money in labor to do the work. And, like the easy start that I have in here or the thermostat, the smart thermostat that I did, my original Battleborn batteries, all that stuff installed myself.
I think a lot of people think you have to be handy to be able to do stuff, and I certainly am not handy, but I'm curious. And I think a lot of RVers are curious, and that's why they travel around. And so I think if you're curious about stuff, like how things work and things like that, I think you can do the upgrades because you're curious about it, you'll figure it out, and it might take a long time to do something, but you're learning in the process.
Mhm. Oh, the learning yeah, that's something too. You learn a lot when you're working on your own stuff, which I think helps you down the road too. I think that really helps your understanding of how everything works in an RV, what a converter does, what the inverter does, what runs on 12 volt, what runs on, what needs to be plugged in. Yeah, I think that's really the best way to learn about RVing is actually working on your RV. And Sean, there's so many good videos on YouTube about
Yeah.
how to RV and how to do this. I always talk about the RV geeks. Like they really helped Sabrina and I out when we first started RVing because we, every time we needed to learn something about our RV or how to fix something in our RV, we would go to one of their videos and learn how to do it. And we just kind of did it ourselves. And I agree. I have no mechanical degree. I've never went to mechanic school or anything like that. I did go to the RV inspection school, but I wouldn't say that they really taught us how to work on an RV. They just taught us what to look for when inspecting an RV and how to spot a problem with an RV, but not so much how to fix. So yeah, I have no like official training on how to do wiring, electrical, plumbing, or anything, but I'm YouTube certified to do all those things. I mean, I've done work on plumbing, electrical, just about everything, heating, cooling. And here I've done a lot that I would have never thought I would have been able to do before. It's a great learning experience.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of stuff is not that difficult once you start doing it. Like, it's pretty simple to figure out. They're
Yeah.
not, like, very complicated things unless you get into a lot of IT type technical stuff, then it could get tricky, but, I mean, even programming the, inverter wasn't super
Mhm.
difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've had to, like, reset my leveling jacks. I've had to I've had to replace hydraulic lines on my leveling jack one time because I broke a hydraulic line. That's something I've never done before, but it was surprisingly, like Sean's saying, the stuff is easier than you think it would be. Like, I was able to go to Napa with my old hydraulic line, show them what it was, and they made me an exact copy of what it was, the length, sizing, everything, and it just fit right back into the original spot again, just like it was, the way it's supposed to be. So you learn some new skills for sure. And every time you accomplish something, you feel good about it.
Yeah, one area where I would say you may not want to DIY the repair, and you may even consider getting a different RV is, like, if you had, like, a hole in your roof or a roof leak or
Mm.
something like that, because then the water gets in there and damages things, and some of that is, like, not easily repairable.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's absolutely a point of no return, right, on items, accidents, some type of major car accident or something like that. Like Sean saying, a hole in your roof. If you're noticing a portion of your roof though going bad, you could always take it to like RV Flex Armor, and have them take a look at it, and maybe they can replace your roof if you catch it in time, I would imagine, and they could replace your roof. But yeah, there are definitely times where there's like a point of no return.
But as far as personalization, like, in our first RV, Julie wasn't happy with all of it, so she ended up painting the inside and,
Mhm.
redoing the backsplash, all that stuff all on herself, redoing the curtains and everything, and it looked a lot different after she was done. And that was something that, she personalized, and you're never gonna get your money back out of it, but you make it your own.
Yeah. And I think it's important what Sean just said. You don't get your money back. Typically, you don't get your money back on upgrades because you are making upgrades that fit your lifestyle, your travel. In order to get that money back on an upgrade, you got to find somebody else that needs that same upgrade. And if you do cosmetic stuff, like Sean's saying, wallpaper, painting, furniture, then you got to find somebody that likes your taste as well. So I think that is important to mention that you putting money into your RV doesn't always increase the value of your RV. Don't always expect, oh, well, I put 30,000 into it. Now you're expecting to sell this for $30,000
Mm.
more. Now, I know there are people out there that flip RVs, but you're talking about a very particular type of RV. They're buying a old RV that is in really bad shape, putting work, time, and just labor into fixing it with new parts. And I would say that they know what they're doing, right? They're fixing what's important to sell. They're not fixing everything all the time. But then there's also people, like Sean mentioned, that they were able to, cosmetically make changes and make the RV the way they want. And that's something important too, because, a lot of times people start looking at their RV and they're like, oh, I don't like these darker colors inside here. I don't like this about it. I would like something new and fresh. Well, you can make it new and fresh. You can go in and repaint, to a more modern color, or, change out the sinks for maybe, I did that in both my bathroom sink and the sink out in our kitchen. We now have like residential spigots instead of like a plastic one. So, you can make those cosmetic changes to make it more modern. Just because your RV looks old today doesn't mean it has to always look old. You can make these changes to it.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess, it goes back to money a lot. And keeping your RV is certainly cheaper than selling your RV and buying a new one. Because when you do go buy new, we talked about depreciation, but you're going to be paying sales tax. You're going to be talking about setup fees. Some RV dealerships even charge you to do like a full walkthrough. If it's over 2 hours, to do like a full walkthrough and learn about that RV. And that might be something that's important, I believe anyway, to learn about that new RV, especially if it's got new features. I feel a lot of problems that RVs have most of the time, maybe not most of the time, a lot of the time is user error.
Yeah.
I think we cause some of the problems just as much as maybe just the RV will, just using it incorrectly. And you know what? New stuff becomes old really fast. Like I feel like something new is really only new for a little while. And then once you have it for a little while, you're like, it's not that new anymore. It gets its first scratch on it. Maybe your dog chews part of your furniture or something. And now all of a sudden that new RV doesn't really seem all that new. And I feel like that happens pretty quick. There's also a benefit of having what you have. Like Sabrina and I, and I'm sure Sean, this is true for you guys too. Like we already have our RV loaded up with our stuff. We already have everything in it. We know what it fits, what we can hold. We got cooler and our bikes and our chairs and our grill and stuff like that. If you go out and buy a new RV, that stuff that you have might not fit in the new RV. Maybe you downsize. Maybe the compartments aren't in the same type of layout. So now all of a sudden you got to buy new gear that fits in your new RV. So there could be like not just the purchase of the new RV, but there might be purchasing new gear to go with that RV.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, as far as tech goes, like if you're into tech and you need like the smart controls and USB-C outlets instead of regular USB outlets and advanced entertainment systems, then you may want to get a new one because integrating all that stuff into your RV now, that may be difficult, especially the smart controls and everything.
Yeah, the new smart controls, I do like them. I know Sean said that earlier he's not really into the tech stuff. I do like the new smart controls. Like Winnebago, we're actually going to have Winnebago come on the show pretty soon and talk about their Winnebago Connect system, which is a system that's kind of like all integrated. Like you can see the health of your vehicle. You can control systems when you're away from it. It's got pet monitoring built into it. That's something that would be like, I couldn't add that into my RV. I can't, I'm not going to be able to do a screen and then all of a sudden now be able to control my slides from my phone. I mean, maybe that's possible. I just don't see that happening. That's just something that, like Sean said, you would have to buy a new RV if that's the features that you are looking for. Yeah, but it is out there. That is the truth of having an old RV, is that it does not have today's tech. Oh, geez, what is it? Like every 5 years, every 2 years, something like that, tech evolves or doubles. Maybe it's every year. I don't think that's the same case for RVs. I feel like RV upgrades happen a little slower than that. But I would say RVs today are very different than obviously my RV. I had to upgrade my own thermostat to make it a smart thermostat. I had to put my own lithium batteries in it. These are things that are now, lithium's pretty much becoming the new standard in RVs. Smart thermostats are becoming the new standard in RVs. I had to put my own 12-volt refrigerator. That's pretty much a standard now in RVs. Is most RVs are now coming with 12-volt refrigerators. So yes, it is outdated or was outdated.
But
I keep on
yeah,
upgrading it though.
as far as like, I know there's a lot of new, like there's a new AC unit that's a lot better. There's new appliances that are more efficient, things like that, that you can absolutely upgrade those yourself. That's something you can DIY, I think.
And I also think there's something to be said when you are doing your own upgrades compared to purchasing a new RV. All right, so you purchase a new RV, it's a huge amount of money all up front. Whereas as I'm upgrading my RV, I only upgrade parts of my RV as I have the money for it and slowly over time. Like I've been doing this over 9 years of slowly upgrading it. I think it's a lot easier to upgrade one little section of the RV, maybe 2 sections a year, 1 section a year, 1 thing at a year, two things next year type of thing. Like it doesn't hurt my bank account the same amount of way as pulling over 100 grand out of my account to purchase the new RV. You know, I'm kind of upgrading on my own time. I don't have to make these upgrades. Although most of my upgrades are made when something goes wrong. Like my refrigerator, our old propane refrigerator wasn't working properly anymore. So we upgraded that to a 12 volt. So some of our upgrades are because it needs an upgrade. But others, you know, I didn't have to have an easy start. We didn't have to have all this lithium. I didn't have to have a smart thermostat. You know, these were just things that we wanted. We just installed, I think our newest upgrade, I'm not sure if it's the newest upgrade, is the new digital locks with a key code. So we don't have to carry our keys anymore. And we just punch in a code and it unlocks the door. We close the door and we want to lock it. You just push a button and it locks the door. It even has a fob. We were able to push a button and unlock the door with the fob. That's not something we had to have, but I thought that was I thought that was a pretty nice thing to have. So that was something I just did this year. Well, not this year because we're in the new year. Just recently last year, I guess I could say. But you're doing these things on your own time is what I'm saying.
Yeah. If you don't like spending time doing that stuff, then definitely new is a better option than constantly taking your RV into service to get upgrades, because that, like at 200 and something dollars an hour for labor, that adds up pretty fast.
It does. It really does. And you know what? It's surprising. I work a lot of shows. Sean, it's so common for somebody to say to me, I love this RV, but the first couple things I'm going to change on it, or like they already have a list of things that they're changing on a brand new RV. So don't think, all right, I'm going to buy a new RV and then that's it. I don't need to upgrade anything. And again, they don't have to make upgrades to it, but they already have a list of things that they want to upgrade or change out. You know, they might not like the tires. They might not like wheels. So they're changing out the wheels.
Oh,
You know, yeah, some things are cosmetic and some things are like for good reason, I guess. You know, I do a lot of overland expos. So the popular thing out there is suspension. Everybody wants a different suspension. They want longer travel. They want bigger tires. They want, you know, a lift on these vehicles. So yeah, just because something's new doesn't mean that you're not going to put upgrades into it like right away.
that's true.
Everybody,
That's true.
yeah, I mean, people want to personalize. You know, they might. I mean, sometimes I'm sure you've seen this too, Sean. Like sometimes I'll see like a Prevost, which is a very expensive motorhome, go down the road, but it's got like a trailer attached to it that has like the custom paint to match their Prevost. Like, you know, they went out and paid a lot of money for that Prevost and then repainted it for this like custom matching paint scheme. Even $1 million coaches get upgrades.
Yeah, I would say reasons to buy over doing like DIY type upgrades or just upgrading in general what you already have is maybe you have injured yourself and you need, like, you have some permanent disabilities that you need something different for, or if there's, like I said before, like water intrusion, things like that, or if your lifestyle has changed. Those are all reasons, because I don't think you want to DIY or do anything structurally to the RV you're not going to be able to upgrade that. You're going to have to purchase a new one, I would think, for safety
Yeah.
reasons.
Yeah, and Sean and I aren't on here trying to talk you out on buying new RVs. There's a lot of reasons to buy a new RV, as Sean just said. One of the things that I can't upgrade in my RV is safety features. The newer RVs have better safety features. They got lane assist. They got collision. I was going to say collision assist, but you don't need assisting. Having pre-collision warnings. They have adaptive cruise. They have better airbag systems. Like that's just stuff that we can't upgrade into our RV. So maybe your family is evolving. Maybe that sounds weird, evolving, but maybe your family is growing and now you need car seat points that are like dot rated. That's something I can't add into my RV or change in my RV. So there don't be like real reasons why you may need to purchase a new RV. Safety features, I think, is really high on that list. Every RV that comes out seems to have more and more safety features in it. That's something that I'm noticing that manufacturers are really starting to pay attention to.
Yeah, and then like we've seen the accessibility enhanced RVs that people with wheelchairs are able to move around inside these RVs, and most RVs you're not going to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. I mean, that's either start from scratch probably really and build your own type of accessibility enhanced. It's interesting too because I remember when you and I forget where we were, Sean. It might have been RVX actually, when we were taking a look at some of the accessibility
Yeah.
enhanced that Winnebago made. And the shower in one of them were so nice. We're like, why isn't the shower in every RV? We thought that shower was amazing in there. It was so roomy. But that's something like I wouldn't be able to do. I'm not going to say I couldn't. I'm not personally going in my bathroom and changing the shower in my bathroom. Like I'm not ripping out all that fiberglass, the glass walls, everything to put in a different size shower. So that's above my comfort level.
Yeah, and I think
So,
even if you paid
mm,
to have it somewhere, they're going to have to do almost some structural changes
yeah,
to make it work.
that's what I would think too. You're changing things structurally. That shower could be supporting something that you don't know until you start pulling it apart. And now you're like, oh, well, now I got to redo the structure here too because now my wall's not going to stay straight. Yeah. So, I mean, there are definitely advantages to new. And this is all that Sean and I are trying to point out to you. There's always trade offs to everything, right?
Yeah.
RVing is king of trade offs. But family size changing, yeah, that's not going to be something that you can really change in your RV. I've heard of people changing things though, like as their kids got older and didn't camp with them so much that they've removed their bunk beds and turned it into an office though. You might be able to go the other way around. But if you're adding like kids to your family, adding pets to your family, well, you might not be able to you're only going to be able to make so many changes to your RV. You're not going to convert it into a whole new class, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to all of a sudden take a Class B van and now have the storage of a Class A motorhome because you added two more kids, you had twins, and you added a dog to the family. But I do think, like, for the most part, most RVers probably don't have to buy new. They can hold on to their RVs. But if you do want to buy new, man, I cannot stress this enough. Have a plan to buy new. Like, shop around, obviously, but financially have a plan. Say, well, I want to have at least this amount of money down. I wouldn't really rely on trade in because the truth is you're not, for the most part, you're not going to get a great deal with a trade in. So I would really focus on having as much money down as possible and then using your trade in like on top of that. You really want that money to be down as much. I mean, you just want, like Sean mentioned earlier, you don't want to be upside down. You don't want to pay a lot of interest. These are things that are going to, the whole reason to RV is for freedom and to travel and explore. You're not going to feel all that free with huge payments and
Yeah.
the stress of your interest rates. And, you want to be comfortable. You just want to be comfortable.
Yeah, for sure. I think what we're saying, Kenny, is that if you keep your current RV and just, do some modifications and renovations, you're going to keep costs down. You're going to be able to personalize it to the way you want. You're going to extend the life of that RV, and you're going to reduce the environmental burden of having, when RVs are manufactured, of course, that creates environmental damage. And then if your RV ends up being crushed in a landfill or in some sort of scrapyard somewhere, that also creates some damage to the environment. For DIYers and budget savvy RVers, it's smarter to keep your RV and renovate it. But if you're one of those people that is convinced that new brings peace of mind and you want the up-to-date comforts and technology like we talked about, you want that reliability of having that warranty behind you, and basically you're willing to spend the money, it's worth buying.
Yeah, I totally agree. And if you guys want to reach out to us, you can contact us and you want to like an unbiased opinion. If you're looking to maybe, let us know what you own currently and say, let us know, do you think it's worth upgrading or should you go out and buy? And you want to like let us know your reasons. We'll give you an unbiased opinion. We have no stake in the game, as they would say. It doesn't matter to us which way you go. We'll give you our opinions on why you should do one or the other and our reasons why. We'll play along with you and try to help you through this decision making. That also goes for anybody that is shopping for a new RV that doesn't have an RV. If you ever want to contact us and say, hey, do you think this type of RV or this type of RV would fit better for our family? But, of course, you're going to have to give us some, background information on you, like size of family, where you want to travel, how do you want to travel, boondocking, campgrounds, things like that. We're always willing to help any of our listeners out when it comes to making these decisions. These decisions are huge, they're expensive, and we want everybody out there listening to us to be happy.
Yeah, for sure, and enjoy what they get.
Yeah, so I think that's all we have to say for today. Like I said, we do have Winnebago coming on soon with the podcast. We also have a company called TMAT coming on to the show. And we actually were contacted by one of our old friends who have been on the show a couple of times. We won't give too much information about that at the moment, more so because I can't remember his last name. So I'm not going to say it. But so we got 3 exciting episodes coming your way after this one. So stick around. Be safe, everybody. Take care. Safe travels. And we will catch you next time.